Tonight, a year to go, 12 months out from the state election. How's the political climate in the regions? And Sunrise weatherman Sam Mack touches down in the Silver City.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight, overtaking lanes between Whyalla and Port Augusta are a step closer with the work to soon be put out to tender. Member for Giles Eddie Hughes says the work will ease congestion on what's fast becoming a busy stretch.
It's been long talked about, but relief is on the way for users of the Lincoln Highway between Whyalla and Port Augusta. Construction on the two overtaking lanes will begin in June.
There was some federal government money available, so the state, we decided that we will work with the Commonwealth to deliver these needed overtaking lanes.
The two new lanes will be built at the 25 and 35 kilometre marks outside of Port Augusta on the highway. It'll help ease the congestion on the roads, which is built up because of the expansion of the Kultana Army Base and the new Point Lowly diesel terminal, with up to 300 extra vehicles using the road. Mr Hughes says it'll help ease the bottleneck.
The amount of heavy vehicles on the road, they are increasing, so it's timely.
And with the tender out, businesses from the private sector will be needed to construct the lanes. Local contractors are encouraged to tender for the project.
Well, I think it's always, almost goes without saying, that locals should put in a bid if they got the capacity to do the works.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, all going to plan. Today marks 1 year until we go to the polls for the 2018 South Australian election. As party leaders had a major debate in Adelaide, politicians in our region reflected on how they'll earn their keep over the next 12 months.
Bookies are already suggesting next year's election will be very close. Independent Jeff Brock played a major role in helping Labor form government in 2014.
As a true independent, I wish I didn't have to make a decision like that, but it was a decision that had to be made for the sake of the state.
But he's not promising a repeat performance.
You don't make decisions who you are going to support without knowing what the policies of each political party are.
Electricity is the word on everyone's lips, and opposition leader Stephen Marshall this week suggested a policy incentivising rooftop solar. But his shadow energy minister says he needs more information about Labor's new gas power plant.
We really need to know specifically how the government is going to implement its plan, not just the announcement, before we can say what may or may not happen after the next election.
Over to the seat of Giles, negotiations with the top two REM bidders remain the talk of the electorate.
That is number one. We have to secure the future for the steel industry.
While it's too early to announce candidates, Giles is believed to be one of the seats being eyed off by Nick Xenophon's newly formed SA Best party, but Mr Hughes doesn't seem too concerned.
My understanding is that Nick is having a great deal of difficulty in finding a credible candidate. Now, apparently there is a candidate that would not be all that credible.
Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
And Mr Brock says he'll lose a number of centres in the redistribution of boundaries, but he's happy the Upper Spencer Gulf will still have 3 state representatives. It comes after the Supreme Court knocked back Labor's appeal regarding the boundary changes.
Last week, the Supreme Court unanimously dismissed Labor's challenge to revoke the electoral boundary changes. Jeff Brock says he won't be challenging the decision.
We have to accept that decision and looking forward to nominating for 2018 as an independent member.
With the changes, Mr Brock will lose a substantial amount of voters. Gladstone and Laura will be moved to the Stewart electorate, and Port Broughton, Butte and Snowtown will also go to the newly formed Narunga electorate.
What they try to do is to actually have a balance out there in the number of electors in each electorate. Obviously, there's some areas that may have reduced in their population.
Early on, the changes floated with the idea of having 2 state members in the Upper Spencer Gulf, something Mr Brock fought against.
My main concern was one of the proposals was to actually reduce the number of, in the Upper Spencer Gulf area, from 3 representatives in the state parliament back to 2.
The changes also put the township of Cow, which is traditionally a Liberal-dominated seat, into the Giles electorate. Labor has not yet ruled out any further appeals to the changes before next year's election.
That's the way it is. and we just need to move on and do the best we can for our people of regional South Australia.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, Sunrise weatherman Sam Mack touches down in the Silver City. We'll see how his morning panned out. That's next. Welcome back. Well, Broken Hill woke up with two sunrises this morning, with Sunrise weather presenter Sam Mack visiting the city. He'll be a special guest at tomorrow's St Pat's race meeting, and he says he's enjoying his first time in the Silver City.
A special entrance for a special star.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sam to Broken Hill.
We are here in Broken Hill to celebrate St Patrick's Day. We had a great morning at the Palace Hotel just there. I'm a local, I know it already. And we are also celebrating the races, the Broken Hill races tomorrow. My first time in Broken Hill.
Locals gave the Sunrise weatherman and his crew a big warm welcome. He says it's places like this where they have the most fun.
To put it bluntly, people are more excited to see us. People come out in bigger numbers. They really want to get involved in our live crosses, and it makes our job easier because the characters come to you, as opposed to sometimes in the capital cities, people are a bit standoffish and we have to go and find them.
One of the live crosses featured two of the city's fabulous drag queens strutting their stuff.
Super talented, super sassy. We love it.
Now in his second year on Sunrise, Sam's in town as a special guest for tomorrow's St Pat's race day.
I will be involved with the Passions on the Field and probably doing some freestyle rapping of my new single, which is out right now, Strawberry Kisses 2017 with Nikki Webster. Yes, we brought her back. So really excited to be showcasing that to the people of Broken Hill.
And he says he is amazed at how friendly people are in the Silver City and always loves getting out to regional towns.
A lot of great people in our live crosses this morning. Hello. See, that's how friendly people are in Broken Hill. I didn't plan that. That was actually my producer. No, it wasn't. That was just a genuine local. And that's what it's like here. In the city, he would have been saying some words that didn't sound like that to me, and it would have been offensive. Broken Hill, everyone's friendly.
You can catch Sunrise on Southern Cross from 5:30 weekdays and 7 on weekends. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Regional winemaking groups have travelled to Adelaide to discuss how a federal government funding injection can be spent. $50 million is up for grabs across the wine industry, and boosting regional wineries is at the forefront.
Last year, the federal government committed $50 million towards a regional wine and export package. This week, industry leaders met to discuss how the money would be spent.
The initial $2 million allocation for the 2016-17 financial year to develop a business plan, and then the remaining $48 million to be spent on activities over that 3-year period.
A 4-point plan has been developed to tackle how those activities will be best funded. Exports at the top of the list.
Firstly is to grow export promotion, and of course Leclerc is very well renowned for its quality of the export, with some of its producers doing a lot of export, particularly in high-valued wines.
A boost for wine tourism in the regions is also on the cards, as is expanded export capabilities.
What we want to do is make sure if they want to export, they're able to do so and do so successfully. There's been certainly discussions of promotional programs in some of those key potential growth markets, such as the United States and China.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla school has used National Closing the Gap Day to educate students on the issues surrounding Indigenous health. Nicholson Avenue Primary School, in conjunction with UniSA, held an awareness day this morning. The kids took part in some dot painting and also heard from local Indigenous activists on the issues facing our nation's First Peoples. Closing Gap Day aims to raise awareness of the gap between non-Indigenous and Indigenous life expectancy.
It's important to get these ideas into the students' minds earlier and realise that they can be a real force of change.
Local heroes are being called to carry the Queen's baton in Port Lincoln as it prepares to host the Commonwealth Games relay. The baton, which embarked on its journey from England this week, will arrive in Australia next year, travelling through Port Lincoln before its final destination on the Gold Coast.
With the Queen's message on board and a wave to the crowd, the baton relay began its journey to the Commonwealth Games. Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay, the lucky towns selected for a front row glimpse.
It's on its way, and we are already starting to prepare the actual route and the event that will be the culmination of the baton arriving in Port Lincoln.
The relay will touch down on our shores in January, making its way around Australia before arriving on the Gold Coast to open the games. Its 388-day voyage will see hundreds of volunteers carry the baton, a prestigious honour Eyre Peninsula locals will get the chance to hold.
This is an opportunity for people that have worked in the community, who are notable in the community and probably aren't in local government.
Next year, all eyes will be on Port Lincoln as the baton relay makes its way from Coffin Bay here to just the streets behind me. It's a big moment for the town, and the Mayor is gearing up for a big turnout.
When it's our turn, we'll be highly excited.
More details on our Facebook page. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A stunning photographic exhibition from a Sydney-based artist opens in Port Augusta tomorrow. Penguin Bloom is a series of images from the best-selling book of the same name and tells an inspirational story of a connection between a family in crisis and this sweet little bird. Artist Cameron Bloom will be at the exhibition's opening at the Port Augusta Cultural Centre at 2 p.m. tomorrow to give a literary talk. The book is soon to be a motion picture starring Naomi Watts and produced by Reese Witherspoon. Well, when we return after the break, grand final action this weekend as cricket wraps up in 2 cities. Match previews next. Welcome back. Grand final fever continues to grip the region as Port Augusta's top 2 cricket teams prepare to meet on the pitch tomorrow. At this point, it's anyone's game. West Augusta has the advantage of old schoolers on its side, but Corn has undoubtedly been one of the best in more recent years.
Edser Oval is where it's at tomorrow as West Augusta and Corn go head-to-head.
Expecting a tough game. Westie's got a lot of old heads, a lot of experience. They've won a lot of finals previously.
We've got a lot of experience in our side. We've got a few survivors of the late 90s, early 2000s. We've got players that played in about 10 grand finals in a row.
Russ is a star bowler and recently moved to Westies after the disintegration of Willesden Cricket Club. He and fellow former Willesden player Shane Cox were vital in winning last year's grand final.
We do rely on Shane Cox with his batting.
Although it may be another batsman that's intimidating Corn.
Well, Mark Bembo has been, in form of late, he's been one of the star batsmen of the competition for a long time now.
Hosco is confident his side has what it takes to go all the way.
We've got a number of strong players in Simon George and Liam Bury who are yet to properly fire this year, so we hope that with the finals pressure that they live to the occasion.
Corn have been one of the best sides over the last 5 years. Their batting and bowling is pretty strong. And they'll back each other as well. So if they're on fire on the weekend, they'll be very hard to beat as well.
And of course, Russ is our regular weekly tipster, so his grand final prediction may be a little biased.
I'm going to lean towards Westies to beat Corn this week.
The coin toss is at 12:30. Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
Meanwhile, in Whyalla, Centrals and North Whyalla will face off in the grand final for the second year in a row. And based on this year's encounters, both captains are predicting it's going to be a close contest.
Central and North were in final preparations last night for Grand Final 2017. The two have met 4 times this year with 2 wins each, with North's captain expecting a decent contest.
Twice teams have won making over 200 and twice teams have lost getting bowled out for 30, so I think really it just comes down that we're really evenly matched. Both got weapons with the bat and the ball.
Centrals, however, are backing their bowling stocks in, with Isaac Smith and Josh Bartell taking 60 wickets between them. Captain Scott Collison says they need to treat the whole Magpies team with caution.
They've got some other great batsmen, David Atkinson, Dave Durka, who's made runs against us a few times this year, and we can't put too much focus on Christie. We'll just try and get all 10 wickets as cheaply as we can.
The pitch here is looking an absolute belter ahead of Saturday's big match. Norths will go in as the favourites after bowling Centrals out for just 37 in the semi-final a couple of weeks ago. However, Centrals finished minor premiers. With that in mind, our cricket expert Brad Smith expects Saturday's result to go down to the wire.
Central Whyalla are in their 17th A-grade grand final in a row, which is a remarkable effort. Norths will go into this game red-hot favourites though. Their skipper, Matt Quist, has been the informed cricketer in town this season with the bat. He's had an outstanding year. Their bowling lineup's very strong, led by Lewis, Branford and Miller, and if they get on top with the ball, that'll go a long way to them winning the game. Centrals need to make some runs. They need to be competitive. They need Dunbar and Collison to get them going. If they can do that, there'll be a chance. Too close to pick a winner this one for me.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Meanwhile, rounds continue in Port Pirie and Port Lincoln. Here's this week's cricket tips.
It's preliminary final week in Port Pirie cricket and we've got two huge matches. The action starts at 9 o'clock at the Globe Oval with the B-grade match between Warnertown and Solly North. Solly North come into this match full of confidence and with a grand final berth on the line, this should be a great match. I'm tipping Warnertown. In the A-grade at Port Oval, it's another Wandera v Props final. Props had the week off last weekend and will be fresh coming into this match. Wandera were poor in their loss to Solly North last week and will be looking for a better effort this weekend. Matches between these two are always entertaining and this match shouldn't be any different. I'm tipping Wandera.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips, and it's finals time here in Port Lincoln, and we've got two big semi-finals. The first one's played Saturday at Centenary Oval at 12:30, Southern Air versus Tasmans. 1 versus 2 on the ladder, be a really good game of cricket. Southern Air smashed Tasmans just a couple of weeks ago, but on the turf it'll be a different story. Southern Air, with all their experience, should get up on this one, but let's go the Tasman boys. And in the second game, this one will be played Sunday, 10:30 Centenary Oval as well. Waybacks and Charlton. Charlton sneaking into the finals last week, and Waybacks going down to Southern Air. Be another really good game of cricket. Gonna tip Charlton, finals experience and the reigning premiers to shine through here.
Well, stay with us after the break, the weather, and we have a special guest to help us out. Welcome back. Well, time now for the weather. And as we saw earlier, Sunrise weatherman Sam Mack is in Broken Hill. He's been up this morning since before most of us, but he's still at it. Sam, welcome to the show and to Broken Hill.
Yes, hello Tim. Mate, it's great to be here. We had a terrific morning this morning at the Palace Hotel, meeting the locals of Broken Hill. They were out in their numbers nice and early, which we loved. We met a character named Wayne who was singing all morning during our show, even when we didn't want him to. But thanks for that, Wayne. Nice to meet you. And that's the great thing about this job. You know, I'm lucky enough to get around the country, visiting all these fantastic spots and showcasing that to the rest of the country. So that's what a big part of today was about. I've been doing this job for a year. I'm absolutely loving it. You know, I've had an opportunity to create the world first leg hair beard, #LHB. That's taking from the legs, giving to your face. It's the Robin Hood of personal grooming. Steal from the rich, give to the poor, and it's really catching on. You know, I was lucky enough to release Strawberry Kisses 2017 with Nikki Webster. We met on top of the Harbour Bridge, we sang together, and now I'm officially a rap artist, and I can confirm it's currently at number 16 on the iTunes charts. So I'm getting to do all this crazy stuff, and amongst that, we're getting to visit great spots like Broken Hill. So we're in town for the races and, of course, St Patrick's Day today. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to continue working, even though it's the end of the day, and I've been working since 5 a.m. this morning. I'm going to keep working because I love you guys. So here is our weather photo of the day. A big thank you to the person who sent that in, which is Leonie Kellaway, who snapped this shot down at Point Lowly. If you've got a weather photo, make sure you email it in, and yours could be on TV just like that. A fine sunny day for this St Patrick's Day. That's what we've had. 31 in Port Augusta, 28 in Whyalla, Port Lincoln 24, 32 for Port Pirie, and 30 here in Broken Hill. On the national satellite image, mainly clear across our region as that high moves across most of the country to the south. Out on the Gulf waters, the winds to 15 knots to the east tomorrow. Seas below a metre, and southerly, sunrise at 7:20. Looking a bit warm as we head into the weekend. We don't mind that though. 36 in Port Augusta, 33 for Whyalla, Port Lincoln heading for 30, Port Pirie 35, a sunny 33 expected here for the races in the Silver City. Then much of the same looking into Sunday, 32 for Port Lincoln on Sunday, 34 for Cleve, and a hot 28 for Woodner. Whyalla 33 on Sunday, 35 for Port Augusta and in Kadina, and then fine and a bit more mild heading into next week. 36 to wrap up the weekend in Port Pirie, with Clare expecting 33, Broken Hill on 32, and that sunshine continuing into Monday. So there we go. I am ready to go. Basically, I'm standing here alone except for about 17,000 flies. Tomorrow there's going to be about 6,000 people. Can't wait. Come up and say hello. Really looking forward to spending the day at the races here in Broken Hill. But for now, back to you, Tim.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Sam. Great seeing you at this end of the day. And yeah, a big weekend at St Pat's, so hope you enjoyed and hope the Flyers fly away as well. And don't forget, you can catch Sam and the Sunrise team weekdays here on Southern Cross from 5:30. Well, that's the local news for this evening and for this week on this St Patrick's Day. I'm Tim Hatfield. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Good night.